Welcome back to Line Racing, y'all. And I picked us up something 1969 Chevy Nova. Yes sir, finally picked me up a Nova. This thing is actually pretty straight from that far back. That baby's clean. Now, it does have some rust in this rear quarter. That's about the worst of the body rust. Interior is not great. Different color door over there. Floors are for the most part rusted out of it, front and back, but that's okay. We don't need floors for what we're doing today. It's got a bench. It's a bench seat car. It does have a straight six and a 2-speed power glide in it. We don't care. If you've watched the channel for any amount of time, you know I pulled a 350 out of a 76 Nova. That's what's going in here, and that's what we're gonna do in today's video. So we'll pull it up into the bay and just get to tearing this straight six out. All right, y'all, we have got the Nova pulled up in the shop and we are ready to start taking it apart. This is gonna be a little bit different of a wheel it run than you normally see me do because, well, as I showed y'all, that engine is missing a head, the water pump's off of it, exhaust manifold, carburetor. It's all gone. It's gone. And I am not gonna try to source any of that. I have this right here. Yep. If you've been a fan for the channel for a little while, you've seen this small block Chevy sitting behind me anytime I'm in the shop. And it come out of a 76 Nova in a previous video, so if you want to, you can go check out that video. I'll put it like right here or something. But this small block Chevy 350, that turbo 350 is going in the car. Now I went ahead and in preparation for all of this, I cleaned the engine and transmission up, painted the engine the only color I know, Chevy orange. I picked up some long tubes, pile of parts, radiator, random little things. Hopefully everything we'll need to get this baby moving around in the yard. I don't know if we'll get it on the road today. We'll see. Well, on the road today, excuse me. I don't know if we'll get it on the road this weekend. Probably, we'll see. I don't know. But first step, let's get the hood off. And I'm gonna try to be careful with this hood because this hood is actually in fairly decent shape. So let's go ahead and knock it off.
Can't.
What are you dropping it on the ground for? This is a nice hood.
I was nice.
All right, so step number one is gonna be to get rid of the trash that we know is going to the scrap pile. Trash. So while we got everything cleaned up and I just discovered some stuff, I don't know a lot about this car, but I know it was somebody's project car once upon a time. And here's how we can tell. Y'all look at the motor mounts. They're booger welded to the frame. Alright, so the motor mount bolts don't even have a nut back there. So that one is loose and coming out. Let's see about this one. I'm pretty sure it's going. Oh, that just broke off. It's going to fly out of there. Yeah, it'll come out of there. So since the motor is already almost all the way disconnected, let's just jump to the transmission and see what we find under there. All right, I got one side out. Go ahead and zip out the bolts for the transmission mount. All right, I have been struggling with the last bolt, and well, I finally just decided to knock the rest of the floor out because my 69 Nova has this option called no dadgum floors at all. So the bolt head right up here is almost round. I can't get a wrench on it. So I'm gonna hopefully get a pair of vice grips on it, or do what I should just be doing and go get my Tabo and cut the rest of it off. I'm done messing with it. Done. I'm just done. I'm going to get my Tabo. All that work. Golly. Stupid. As y'all can tell, I have been at this for quite some time. Alright, so now let's support the transmission with this jack. There we go. It's picking up. Transmission's picking up. Should be off the cross member. Grab the big boy hammer. Oh, we can get that crap out of the way. That was way more difficult than it should be. All because of that one bolt right there. But we'll clean this baby up tomorrow. Give it a paint. All right, big man, let's set the engine crane up. Ready? Uh-huh. Watch your ears. Watch your ears. Woo!
Papa, can I have it?
Yeah, jack it up some for me, son.
Okay. Yep.
Jack it up for me, son. There you go. There you go.
It's going, it's going, look, it's going.
I see that. Jack it up. Good job, man.
Look.
Keep going.
Has that high enough?
No, a little bit more. So I got me 2 head bolts that undoubtedly come out of this vehicle. I'm gonna go clean them up just a little bit so we can thread them down in that block, and we'll just attach them to the cherry picker and pick his turd out of here. There we go. Good as new. Hooking up the chain, man. Hooking up the chain.
Picking up the chain.
Ah, just like that. A little bit of tension goes a long way. That, I do believe, is a small block Chevy starter bolt.
How you gonna lift me up?
It's got the knurl on it.
How you gonna lift me up? I'm going to lift me up.
A little bit out of that, not a whole lot. There we go. There we go. Come on out of there, big boy. It's leaking everything. Back up, son. Alright, so we got 2 things still connected, so we're just gonna cut them. Free up that. I just realized something. We don't have a throttle cable. That sucks. Back up, back up, back up, back up. All right. So that is one crusty, rusty, straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna put a V8 in, baby. Dang, made a freaking mess. So my last goal for tonight, well, I really got 2 more. I'm gonna cut these motor mounts off the frame. We'll get rid of this crappy condenser. Man, let me tell you what, that fought me more than what I thought it was. Finally got them off. Got them cleaned up. The old boy with the stick welder, it might not have been pretty, but it dang sure wasn't going nowhere. It was stuck. So for tonight, last thing I want to do is take off this AC compressor. Battery's running low on the camera, so not gonna film a whole lot of it, but it's pretty simple. Bolt, maybe 1 or 2 more bolts and the whole thing should fall out. I had to cut that baby. I had to quarter off some of it just to get it out. I mean, I don't know how in the hell it got bent so bad, but it did. All right, we are back for day 2. We are getting a late start because last night, as I was cleaning up underneath this pile of junk, I realized that the drive shaft U-bolts that go to the rear end, there was only one of them. So after 3 parts store trips, I finally found something that will work. It's a Dorman U-joint strap. I found it at Advanced. I went to O'Reilly's, AutoZone, and then Advanced, and finally found something that I think will work. So let's go ahead and get the pressure washer fired up and just go into spraying. I got some oven cleaner for the baked on grease, and we're gonna do a little engine in. Now, we're gonna get this baked on grease the way my wife gets baked on grease out of our oven. Easy off, oven cleaner. Let's go to town. This is kind of the best stuff I found to get rid of grease that has been sitting for years and years and years and years. It's probably not good for anything rubber or plastic, but you know what? It'll be okay. It burns, so it's got to do something, right? Probably not good for wires and things like that, but I mean, let's face it, the thing is a piece of crap, so it'll be all right. Oh yes, see, it's starting to work. Oh, we didn't forget about you down here. Says we need to let it soak for 3 to 5 minutes, so I'll be back. So we just finished with the oven cleaner and cleaned it off with high quality pressurized H2O, and I have to say it looks a lot better. I mean, it's still not perfect, but I mean, it is what it is. So I'm gonna let the car drip dry, but now I want to get some paint on these spots right here, and I want to put my pads down. All right, so I'm gonna clean these spots up, get all the water off of them. Just gonna hit it with a torch and boil all the water off, and that'll cook some of the grease off. Doing this, you can see the spot dry as it gets pretty warm, gets to a boiling point. See that? That's all that water that's getting dried out of it. Now for the paint that I'm gonna put on it, good old faithful VHT engine enamel. This crap is tough and it'll stick to just about anything. I'm gonna give it just a little dusting right now. Let that dry and we'll come back and hit it with a good heavy coat. Since we heated it up, it speeded up the drying process, so we can go ahead and put on a second coat here. All right, we're gonna let that dry. Now we're gonna put on our engine mount. I picked these up from Classic Headquarters. They're like a OEM restoration or a GM restoration stuff. This is just gonna be the stock style pedestal. I didn't want to get creative and spend no whole bunch of money. I think I paid 50 bucks for both of these. So, I mean, not a bad deal. And everything is OEM. So it's not gonna be difficult to put in here. This car was designed to have a small block Chevy, so a small block Chevy is gonna go in it pretty daggone easy. The rain has started, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Take your little razor blade, and cut everything around so it doesn't interfere with the bolt going into the nut. Now, you're gonna trap some tape in between the nut and the frame. It's gonna be all right, don't panic. This is the area we're working with. You gotta have a pretty long 9/16 wrench. You wanna do this one first. You don't wanna do this one first, because then you can't reach this one. Put that on there, that on there. While we're out here in the thunder rolls and the lightning striking, we might as well do just a touch of body work. Y'all see that crease right there? No better time to get it out than right now. I have my favorite body working hammer. I got it out of touch. Pretty good. All right, we got both motor mounts installed. As you can tell, it's flat rocking. So, I guess I'm gonna try to go inside the shop and assemble the engine. So now that Hurricane Katrina has passed us by, let's go ahead and assemble this engine. It doesn't sound like a tornado is fixing to tear through it. I got just a touch of blue Loctite, not going crazy, but I do want a little something on here to make sure these bolts don't back out and this thing tries to saw my leg off. Now I'm gonna run these down flush with this little 1/4 inch impact. And we're gonna torque this puppy to 60 foot-pounds in about 2 steps. You just find you a hole that works and shove it up in there and it'll bind up. So you're like me and you're having to do everything by yourself, pretty much. All right, so I got the transmission up on the cooler. That's to hold it so I don't have to be crawling around. Now, I made this the other day whenever I cleaned it up. This is just to keep the torque converter where it is now. I didn't want it to fall out because it was already installed pretty good and I didn't want to have to reinstall it. Move the motor over here in front of that, take off my little torque converter keeper device, and we'll marry the two together, hopefully for a long time. Transmission has been bolted to the motor. Let's go ahead and run it up. Shouldn't feel any resistance. Should still be able to spin the torque converter down here, y'all. You shouldn't have any pressure from the flex plate pushing against the torque converter, and we can still spin it. So that's good. That is already tightening up. That is not the right bolt. One of the things you want is you want to pull the torque converter to the flex plate. So you need about 1/8 of an inch of clearance, is what they say. So this one is perfect. We'll get a bolt started. You see that? There's some wiggle room here. You want to leave that wiggle room in there, because if you run this one down all the way, you might not be able to get to the next one. So I'm gonna spin the motor over and find the next bolt. All right, here we go. All right, it's started. All right, let's find the third. Here's our third bolt. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these all torqued down. I got 1 or 2 other things I want to do, and since the rain stopped and now it's 700 degrees, maybe we'll be able to get this engine outside today. Like Alabama, they say if you don't like the weather, just wait a couple minutes. It'll change. Now, for some reason, this timing cover does not have timing marks. So I picked up this little cheap timing mark pointer, and I'm gonna throw it on just so I can have some idea of where top dead center is, and because I'm gonna have to time this engine. So I want to check the position of this pointer and top dead center. All right, and it starts going down right after 0. So I'm gonna guess that it's pretty close. Something that I'm thinking about doing is taking this off and cutting it right there and welding it back on so I can actually see the mark, because that's gonna be pretty difficult to see in the car. All right, so this is what I did. Just cut it off, welded it back together. Thankfully, it's got these, I don't know what to call them. It's where they bent it to give it strength. So I just matched it back up, welded it all together. Now I'm gonna have to grind all of these back flat because this does ride really close to the balancer. So I'm just gonna knock them flat, put it back on. All right, y'all, we're back for, I don't even know what day. But we got to get some paint down, and that engine's got to get in here today. If I got any hope of getting this baby fired up, I got a long day ahead of me. So I'm not gonna clean it up any more than what it is, you know. I've already showed y'all what I was using, but I'm using the low gloss, or it's actually no gloss. It's more like a flat black, and that's just to, it's like I'm not trying to show anything, you know. It's just give it one solid color, not real flashy, real dull looking. I think it'll look all right. Now I'm not going real thick with this first coat. It's more just a light dusting of it on, just to give the second coat something to stick to. Like Mama always said, you know what looks better than rust? Painted rust. As old vice grip would say, let's rebuild these upper control arms. Brand new bushings. While we're at it, we might as well rebuild this air box, you know, since it's in here. So that's looking better already. I'm not trying to do a great job, I'm just trying to make it look maybe this much more presentable. So I've got paint everywhere. I'm gonna let this kind of tack up, give it a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna shoot it heavy, give that a little bit, and then the engine's going in. While we're at it, we might as well rebuild these upper control arms and these parts of the frame over here. Oh yeah. 2 rattle cans, and this baby's been restored. You know, check this out. Here's the thing. It looks okay in person, but I bet it looks great on camera. Got some black paint. So we're gonna let this dry for, I don't know, not very long. Enough to where if I'm touching it, it's not sticky anymore. So we're gonna let it not get sticky. Engine's going in. I got a million things to do, and I ain't got time to wait on this one. So we've been playing Mr. Mom all day, but it is what it is. So now paint has dried. It had way more time to dry than what I planned, but it is dry to the touch. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the 350 and the Turbo 350 in. We've got a lot of help from youngins and cousins because it's a family day and we're out here doing this. So let's just go ahead and get it lifted up. We're just gonna cram it in. Now, one thing I will say, this is something I do from working on swapped cars in the past. I go ahead and have the driver's side header just laid in the engine bay. It's a heck of a lot easier now laying in there than it is to fish it later on. Now, I ain't ever done long tube headers in a Nova, so I left the starter out. We'll worry about that later. But let's just go ahead and get it crammed in there.
Pressure?
Watch out. You ready?
Yep.
Alright, going in. It's alright if you.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, ready, go.
That's some lines right here. step stool over there?
Crazy dog.
You're gonna have to get up on that step stool and just kind of guide it. I'm gonna start coming down a little bit. Come down a little bit, then I'm gonna come in. Down and in, down and in.
All right, come in just a hair. All right, come on down.
If it rubs, that is fine. How much in can I come?
You can come in. All right, come on down.
All right, let me get a jack on the old transmission and get it back somewhat level.
Well,
Might have to just
we
let
might
it.
have to muscle it.
That and might have to set it down and then re-rig. Get this
Out of the way.
out of the way. Over here somewhere. So we had to re-rig. Yeah, I mean this. Y'all have heard me talk about this many times. How much I hate this engine crane, but it's just not long enough. So we got it sitting on a board right now. We'll pick it back up and then push it back another 8 inches. Hopefully that should work. You ready?
Yep. The distributor's hitting the firewall, so if I can let it down some.
Yeah, let it down some.
Keep your hands out of the way. I'll let it down some.
Yeah, come down just a little bit. It's touchy.
Okay.
Come down just a little bit.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Boom! That's one motor mount in. Go ahead and lift it up,
Go
son.
ahead, lift it up, Live.
All right. How you looking over there? You should be good.
Yep.
Hold up right
That's
there,
good,
Live.
right there. Good right there, buddy.
Mounts. Bolted up.
What is this?
Yeah, high five on that one, big bro. I'll just stop recording.
What are you doing right now?
Well, I didn't buy a new transmission mount, whatever you want to call it. I gotta borrow this one from this crusty power guy. I thought about that yesterday whenever I was doing inventory on my parts. But thankfully, this isn't a Ford, and Chevy was smart enough to make things just work with each other. So this little transmission mount right here, it'll be fine. These things are even the same on 4 speeds. Just hanging out with us. Maybe you'll be a hot rodder one day. Bet you didn't know you could do this in a 69 Nova. You're in the car, I'm outside the car. That was my forehead.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Whoops. Drop the camera.
Oh, you just lower it and unhook it. Oh, hello. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as lovely as you used to be. Oh.
Why don't you let us know what's going on right now?
The bolt don't want to thread in. This is like MTV Cribs. Yeah, come on in. This is where all the magic happens.
So what's the major malfunction there, brother?
Well, I don't know what the last person that had this transmission had this tapped out to, but it wasn't standard, so I just tapped it out to 1/2 inch by 13. I got 2 stainless steel bolts. I'm just gonna cut them down so they'll fit for now.
Don't shake up our beers too much.
Okay, that's enough. Get out of my nose.
Well, I got the transmission mounted, but not without a fight. I wound up having to tap where the mount goes into the transmission out to 1/2 inch by 13 because whoever had done it before me, they tapped it out something crazy metric. So I would have showed y'all, but I'm in a rush. Engine, transmission in the car. We probably could have threw that driver's side header in there. Probably didn't have to really have that laying in the bay. We could have chunked it in there. V8 swaps Nova.
That was empty.
Yeah. I gotta wash my hands anyway.
You need to get the one that's got some beer in it.
Yeah. It's enough. Had enough. Appreciate you, buddy. Alright, y'all, we've made it out here for day 3. What do you know? It's exactly how I left it. The 30 or 40 people that all them TV shows have, they didn't show up to help me. So I gotta finish it up on my own. I have to say though, big thank you to my brother yesterday. It was a family day and that was something we didn't have to do, and he come out here and helped me. So that was awesome, because without him, I'd probably still be trying to put an engine in this thing. So lots of progress there. Now, thankfully, I found the drive shaft for this car in the trunk. So does it need U-joints? Oh yeah. One of them's missing a couple needles, but can we make it good enough just to get in here and work so I can feel the transmission and run it? So that's what we're gonna do. Let me clean this baby up a little bit. All I'm doing is brake clean, WD-40, Scotch-Brite, clean the rust off the yoke. I'm gonna stab it in. It cleaned up pretty good. I'm just gonna throw it in. Y'all seen people put drive shafts in. Y'all don't need to see me do it. You just transmission, rear end, it's done. So I'm putting the passenger side header in, and I know you can't see it, but there's a plug in the side of the head, and it hits the bar that links all the header tubes together. So I'm gonna have to. There you go. That should be all it needs to clear. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's 952,000 degrees in South Alabama right now. So I know I never showed you all these, but I picked up these tall Chevy orange. It's almost like I planned this months ago. But yeah, I picked up these valve covers from Summit. The ones that were on here, well, they look like crap. So I picked up these. I picked up this reusable gasket metal rock, you know, just to clean it up. And another thing is, note how clean this engine is on the inside. It's a pretty good engine. So we're gonna throw these on, change the oil. Went with Old Faithful O'Reilly Special Wicks oil filter, Rotella 1540 heavy duty Nova oil. Yeah, it's the cheapest, y'all. And it's got some zinc in it, as everybody else says. Some people say it's the wrong zinc, but let me tell you what, it's better than none. So we're gonna fill up this filter, cram it in, throw some oil down the engine. Y'all don't care about that, so I'm just gonna do this part. Now for the wiring portion of this video, I'm gonna show you how to wire up a 6AL box. This is what you don't do. Don't use Scotch clips, they suck. So what I did here, cut off all that crap that they had. Go ahead and twist your distributor and advance it like 30 degrees. That'll be all right. So I like using non-insulated butt connectors and heat shrink. I got like a 80-foot roll of that. Go ahead and strip it, clamp it. There we go. That's the tight connection. Slide this heat shrink over. So we've got an orange and a purple. I had purple but not orange, so we're going to use purple and yellow. There we go. That's the distributor side done. Now let's wire up the coil, throw some plug wires on here, and see what this baby will do. Got all the plug wires installed. It's pretty simple, y'all. Just small box Chevy firing order. Coil installed. One step that I almost forgot. I gotta have something to tell me my oil pressure. So let me go grab a cheap little gauge, throw it on, hot wire, weed eater gas, fire. All right, before we get too crazy, let's go ahead and build some oil pressure. I got my little cheap plastic hose gauge wired up. They're not the best, but it will work. Fire in the hole. About 50 pounds with it, all the spark plugs in off the starter. I'm good with that. Now let's hot wire this 6AL box. If I'm not mistaken, heavy red is positive, black is ground. These 6AL boxes have the wiring diagram on the bottom, y'all. So yeah, heavy black to negative, heavy red to positive. There's our positive. Let me get some weed eater gas and I'll get our negative going. All right, we got that jammed down in there. Should have spark. Got the old faithful, y'all. Husqvarna 2-cycle engine oil and some Primo 87. Little squirt, way too much. Let's see what happens. All right, y'all, I'm an idiot. Russian, wasn't thinking. You gotta have a 12-volt switched wire for ignition, so I'm gonna put that right there. See if we have spark now. We have spark and it just tried to pop off. Okay. I'm an idiot, y'all. Put number 1 back on. All right, let's give it a little bit more weed eater gas. Pump. Try to retard this time, and I think it's a little bit too far advanced. A little bit more. That's too far retarded. Too far retarded. Still. Well, it's firing. It ain't happy. I need a timing light on it, but we'll see if we can get it to hold auto for a second. Come on. I'm gonna try to fill one of the bowls. Way too much gas. Yes! I'd say that's a freaking victory out of everything I've had to do this weekend. One more time. See if I can keep it running for longer than about 10 seconds. Man, this baby has been a challenge for me, and this is not as far as I wanted to get, but it's as far as I'm gonna get. Y'all tune in for next week. We're gonna try to, you know, sure up this wiring a little bit more, you know. make it look a little bit more prettier. I got stuff to do brakes. I got stuff to do front steering. So y'all tune in next week and we're gonna work on this baby some more. Probably rebuild that carburetor and try to get it running off something more than we need a gas. See you next weekend.